Good Up is our space to talk about those experiences in life we didn't know we all had in common. We're the after work happy hour conversation with your best friend.
You good up bad, like, hello.
The place where you bring up the hard parts of life, the ones that made you laugh, and the things that made you who you are. Because who said becoming good up wasn't a little bit uncomfortable? Stay tuned for more information about this week's episode. Hey, beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of the Good Up podcast. You know, it's giving boss bitch, it's giving rich bitch.
Yeah, all of that.
Birkin, close the curtains in a Rolls Royce, you know?
Yes.
Rolls Royce.
It sounds like rap lyrics, so yes.
You don't know that song? It's giving
I saw it a touch right now.
Listen, okay, I don't support the fact that a young woman named herself essentially what is a racial slur, but Lato last album was enough to make me a fan, okay? And in particular, there's a song called It's Giving. And in the song just is such like a cool little groove. You'd be driving, you'd be like, it is giving rich bitch. Am I driving a Honda Accord? Yes. But is it still giving rich bitch? Absolutely. Like, I don't know. It's Ox Diamond. I put Diamond onto that fuck. I was like, yeah, this sound like you right here. This is
Yeah, I'm gonna listen to it. I will play it tonight during the little party.
And I probably gonna do some kind of podcast trailer use, because you know I love to like put Megan Thee Stallion on the podcast trailers, so that might be the next one. But anyway, Deidre and I actually we just got done doing a whole little venting session off air, catching up, seeing how each other's week went, because we're recording this on a Friday, which is a little off for us. But you know, white women have been trying us today.
Yeah, they're in rare form.
They are in rare fucking form. They are entitled. They are wilding out. Listen, if you are a white woman, I need you to check yourself before you walk up in a Starbucks or call somebody place of employment trying to check them, because there might
check
be
your sister in too.
Exactly. And there might be a black woman on the other line, and what I don't have is patience or enough money being paid into my bank account a year to deal with your bullshit.
Say that again.
So.
Because
And speaking of white people,
let me just give a quick little disclaimer for the people in the VIP section. Okay, I know the kid's eyes are red. I know she's rubbing her eyes. Shout out to allergy season.
Yeah,
it's giving. Okay,
listen,
y'all gonna
my
hear me
nasal
sniffle.
spray is doing overtime right now.
I need to get a new one. I forgot to get a nasal spray. I forgot to take my Claritin before going to work this morning, so I was a mess. So the girl sounds stuffy. She's sniffly.
It's, you know, gorgeous girls have allergies. You know, bad bitches have allergies.
Bad bitch.
I know.
That's it.
It's a bad bitch listening. Yeah, it's a bad bitch listening to this episode right now who's sniffling on her way to walk, nose itching, eyes running. Yeah. We see you, sis, or bro. So we see you.
She like, bro.
And that fuck to make you miserable. You to just be like, yo, the weather getting hot. And I gotta be fucking sneezing, or like life to get pretty for once, right? Like spring to be springing, flowers to be sprouting everywhere, and you can't even enjoy that fuck because you can't see.
Because you listen, my whole it's the puffiness, it's this, and this is new. I developed these allergies as an adult, like in the last 3 years.
This is a stateside fuck. Like VI aired has never made me sniffle allergy.
Yeah, ever since I moved up here, allergy season, they'll be like, "Hey, bitch, what's up?"
That's that Babylon aired. I ain't have nothing to do with the Virgin Islands because I did not have allergies before I came here.
No. But yeah, let's carry on about the caucasity.
So speaking of Babylon. For those of you who've been living under a rock, recently news broke in the middle of our Met Gala shenanigans. Broke that the Supreme Court is leaning towards it's more than likely going to happen at this point, like 99.99%. Basically, an opinion was leaked that the Supreme Court is going to strike down Roe versus Wade. Roe versus Wade is the case that resulted in abortion becoming legal on a federal level. So if this is struck down, essentially that means that legally, on a federal level, there would be no precedent to protect abortion rights in the states. That basically means, again, state governments would be allowed to do whatever the fuck they want when it comes to abortion rights. And in narrowing that down a bit more, it basically means that Bible thumping white men have gotten their way, and for some reason they're gonna be minding our uteruses instead of their mother own. So
Yeah, facts, literally. Or they're sugar babies, because their sugar babies are still gonna be able to get abortions.
Right,
Just
you
not
would
us
think-
poor folk.
you would think men who'd be out here doing whorish shenanigans would want to keep abortion around, but
Listen,
okay.
if I was a nigga or a man and I didn't want my whores to be pregnant, I would be in that motherfucking courtroom like, hello,
Right.
abortions
Listen.
for all, okay?
So it's funny because
gotta hear.
that was going to be my first question, is asking you whether you're pro-choice or pro-life, and I think it's very clear that you're pro-choice.
I would be making it rain in abortion clinics.
Listen,
No, I'm absolutely pro-choice.
yeah, I am team fuck them kids if need be.
Yeah.
I mean,
For whatever reason.
I'm team fuck them kids in general, but also if need be,
Facts. Like, I'm team, oh my God, this nigga, like, and the thing is, because a lot of people, they're pro-choice with conditions, right? They're pro-choice if somebody gets raped, or they're pro-choice if a dude stealths. And if you don't know what it means for a man to stealth, that's when a man sneakingly takes off a condom during intercourse and you don't realize it because you're actually enjoying the intercourse,
which is also rape.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a form of sexual assault. And so a lot of people are pro-choice if there's extenuating circumstances. No, I am pro-choice, period.
So
And now, yeah, go ahead, because I could go on and on
well,
for hours. As the
I want
girls
to
would
make
say.
it clear that I know that there might be pro-lifers in the audience. If you are pro-life, right? All respect to you. You're allowed to have that opinion. This might not be the episode for you, bitch.
That part.
Okay,
You're
continue.
gonna be real
Deidre.
mad at us.
Yeah,
So,
you're gonna be real
what
mad
I-
because I'm not going to find the middle ground. The devil don't need an advocate.
No,
there
because
is no
even-
neutrality.
Because everybody's first of all, because somehow they have lived this life. That's the only thing I can deduce from the argument that they tend to use is, oh, but these women, they just use abortions as birth control and they get pregnant and just get abortions repeatedly. I literally saw somebody say on the internet that these women be getting 5 abortions a month because they like to use abortions as birth control. And I'm like, it's physically impossible for someone to become pregnant 5 times in 1 month. It's literally impossible. I wish I had taken a screenshot because somebody literally said that. And I know they were probably being facetious, but I don't give a fuck. In a matter this important, you don't get to be sarcastic or facetious or any of the like. It's physically impossible for a woman to become pregnant 5 times in 1 month, unless she's ovulating and she becomes pregnant with, is it what's the quintuplets,
yeah.
that whatever it is,
mean,
because I ain't no fucking gynecologist.
A lot of these people, so the fact that you even have to explain any of this just proves that a lot of the people who are speaking on abortion don't know enough about reproductive health to speak on abortion.
Facts.
So why are you pro-choice? At the core, why are you pro-choice?
At the core, because the thing is for me, I'm so pro-life that I'd rather be pro-choice. And the reason why I say that is because the first thing that comes to my mind is somebody who does not want to be a parent has a child, that child is going to have a shit life. My first thought is the potential life that's going to come that wasn't even wanted. That's why I'm pro-choice. I would rather somebody have abortions and terminate an unwanted pregnancy than to have a pregnancy. First, for that's the main reason, right? Because it's like, if somebody doesn't want to have a kid, they're never going to enjoy raising that kid. And nobody deserves to enter this world under those circumstances. Further to that, I also give a fuck about the human beings that are birthing these babies that y'all are trying to force us to have. Women's lives are risked at such a great number when we get pregnant. Okay, in so many ways. The old people I'm used to say, when you having a baby, you have 1 foot in the door of death and 1 foot out. That shit is legit. Everything could be going fine, and before you know it, some blood pressure shit happen and you're dead. Okay, so for many reasons, I'm pro-choice because I would rather choose whether or not I want to risk my life to bring somebody's big head ass child into this world.
I am pro-choice because I am team mind your business. in all areas of my life. Like
That part.
one, I mean, there's multiple reasons why I'm pro-choice, and we're gonna get into that kind of deeper into the episode. But at its core, right, a lot of the things that you will find me support morally is because my baseline for life is like respect human beings and mind your fucking business.
Period.
I don't believe it is my right to agree with another person's choices because of my moral values. Also, I believe in science, and the way that people frame abortion, they don't realize how biased they're being when they talk about abortion, and also how uneducated they sound when they talk about abortion. Abortion, when you really learn about it from a scientific perspective, is not the violent, evil act that a lot of you like to think that it is, right? And I don't go deeper on that. Like, people like to visualize abortion in their minds as like an actual human baby is being harmed, when scientifically, like, you're not even at that point yet when you receive the procedure, right?
Yeah.
Doctors notice, patients notice when they get abortions. The only people who seem to not understand this is the people who protest
Who can't get abortions,
right?
and who don't do the science.
So, but no, at its basis, like, I'm pro-choice because I'm pro-choice. I am pro someone deciding what it is that they feel they need to do in that moment in their life. And I respect that. What another individual does, especially if it does not directly impact me, is none of my business.
Yes.
None of my business.
Yeah.
Yeah, just...
Well, for one, I agree wholeheartedly with all of that, because it's true. At the end of the day, it ain't got nothing. What they eat don't make me shit, and vice versa.
Yeah.
It's your body. You get to choose what you're going to do with your body. Okay.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. And you know, the other thing, I always feel the need to like heavily defend people who make the choice to terminate pregnancies, because people act like, now granted, this isn't saying that the people who just very casually are like, oh, I'm just going to terminate this. They exist. And even so, oh, well, that's their choice to make, right? I don't know a woman who's terminated a pregnancy who that choice wasn't extremely difficult for. I know people who've chosen to terminate pregnancies and they struggled with it every day. They knew it was the best choice for them, and they still struggled with that decision.
Absolutely.
Years later, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, how dare y'all, who will never understand what it's like to go through something like that, or even make a choice like that. How dare y'all just blatantly feel the need to comment on it, much less be like, we're gonna make the decisions for them wombs. But we know what this is, patriarchy. Like, we're not gonna act like, you know, it ain't that. Have you been seeing the conspiracy theories though online about race? You know what I mean?
Girl. There's, I mean,
They don't sound far-fetched though.
I mean, I get it, right? And that's the difficulty I have when it comes to conversations on like reproductive health and Black women and racism, and that like intersection between racism and misogyny, right? Because a lot of people are always going to feel like the things that the US government does, there's this overarching conspiracy to harm Black people. The reality is that a lot of the actions the US government has taken have directly harmed people of color, especially Black people, right? But my thing with abortion is, why would they also harm their own women?
Well, what they're saying is the conspiracies that I've been seeing was that when it's regarding race, was that in, I forget the number of years, but the girls are saying that in a certain amount of years, white people will no longer be the majority. And so that's why they're cracking down on these abortion rights, so that white people don't, like, because reality right now, white people are still the majority. And that's not saying that I believe these things, but when they said it made sense.
They're trying to make it so that they don't become the minority. Because
pretty much what they're saying is that the reason why they're doing this is so that they don't risk becoming the minority, which sounds stupid, but at the same time, I'm like, fuck, if that was possible, I could see it.
I get it, but people have to ask, like, how many abortions do you think are happening each year in comparison to how many births, successful births are happening each year? And if that's the case, you would think that these white men in charge who are so fearful of becoming the minority would give people universal fucking health care so that their women don't die in childbirth. But instead, they're trying to ban abortion. That fuck don't make sense.
It's weird. I would really like to know why abortion have them in such a chokehold. That's just I've always wondered that. Like, why are they so obsessed with women's reproduction?
Deidre, at its core, it is a fundamentally Christian belief, right? It's not about the legality of it. It's not about the science of it. Our country, this church separation from state, that fuck don't really exist. So these people are trying to convince themselves that there are other logical reasons for why they don't support abortion and why they don't want to legalize it. The reality is that these are Christian white men. This is a country founded on Christian ideals, and in Christianity, it is considered morally wrong to abort a baby. That's literally it. It. And the rest of us just have to fall in line to those beliefs because the people in charge believe it. That's it. And that's again, that is also why I'm pro-choice, because I am pro like separation of church and state. It doesn't matter what you believe. I'm not anti-Christianity. I'm just pro separation of church and state. You cannot run a country where there are dozens of different religions and denominations that people follow and expect people to just morally align with Christian beliefs as a law. That shit don't make no fucking make that fuck make sense.
I could.
But I think the other side of it too, and what's so scary about it is, right, it's because like we could go back and forth with the arguments of it and like why I believe versus what you believe, but like the reality is that like we are witnessing the government make decisions about our physical beings, right? And that fuck's scary. Like that is unsettling as fuck for
it is
9 people in a room who I've never met in my damn life to say, you know what, hey Isa, if you get pregnant, even though you don't want kids, tough tip,
regardless of the circumstance. Like, and it's so funny because I was in the Uber ride to work this morning. There was like the radio DJs talking about a woman in Texas who recently got arrested for a self-induced abortion or something like that. I was like, what?
There are people who have been arrested for having miscarriages, things that you cannot control. People getting arrested for. In Louisiana right now, they're trying to ban IUDs. So this is for the people who are thinking while I was talking, well, why can't you just abstain from sex here? Is that 1, because I like dick, bitch, suck it. 2, why can't you use condoms here? Is that because I'm married and I don't feel like it? 3, well, ask you to just pull out. Sometimes I want you to shoot up the club, bitch.
Pulling out don't work. I'm gonna just tell y'all right now, it don't work.
Well, okay,
I got an 8-year-old to prove the pussy.
So I mean, the argument is
was a birth control baby. I digress.
I believe I was a birth control baby also. So here's the thing. A lot of people are just like, well, why do people who don't want kids not just abstain from sex or use protection or this and this and that? At the end of the day, even if I use all of the protection in the world, protection is always going to be 99.9%. That little 0.1 is always there.
And I got an 8-year-old over there playing Fortnite to prove it. Okay.
Exactly. There is always a possibility, no matter how much a woman protects herself, of pregnancy. So if a woman like me, who absolutely knows she does not want to be a mother, gets pregnant, how can you tell me that I just toughed it? Like, and like Deidre was saying earlier, you gonna force me to raise a child that I didn't really want and force that child to experience life for a mother who didn't really want them? Like, you think I's a fucking goat that I gonna just eventually like that motherfucker? Like, no, it just
sounds so evil and cruel to me. Like the whole entire
it really
thing.
is.
And further to that, because nobody really talks enough about this that I'm about to bring up. They're so focused on controlling women's reproduction. When it's men's reproduction, they should be trying to control. I just mentioned earlier that we can only get pregnant once a month. We can only get pregnant once a month. And if we do become pregnant, we gestate for 10 months. And even in that recovery, the likelihood of getting pregnant immediately after delivering that child is slim. So realistically, a woman can only have a baby, once a year, every year and a half at best. Meanwhile, a man could go make 6 babies in a couple hours? when you really think about it, if a man could get an infinite number of women pregnant at a time. These niggas, they just be out here making babies. So why are we so focused on women's reproduction when we should be this pressed about men's reproduction? Why are we not like, why is there no birth control for men besides condoms? Why is
Or
there
vasectomies.
or vasectomy? Why are there not imposed vasectomies for men of a certain age? Because these niggas be in their 70s making babies.
Somebody, I don't remember if it was on Twitter or on TikTok where I saw it, but somebody basically said that if men could get pregnant, you would be able to get abortion in a drive-through.
Oh yeah, I saw that you could get an abortion at an ATM if men could get pregnant.
Or birth control. Like, it honestly, it really is an attack against women and women's freedom of choice and our reproductive health. And I think that's what I really want to emphasize to people who are just like making it such a simple pro-choice versus pro-life argument. It's really not that. At the end of the day, whether or not you choose that abortion is the right path for you, that shouldn't influence whether or not somebody else decides if that's the right path for them. And for people that high up in our government to be able to just make decisions like this that affect our livelihoods, like, it's fucking dangerous. And it's not even just about abortion, because now that we've brought up vasectomies, here's a fun fact. If a man wants a vasectomy, he'll pay, I believe, maybe a couple $100. He could go in, no difficulty. He could set an appointment, get it done. If a woman wants a hysterectomy, which is essentially the female version of a vasectomy, if I want one, because I know I don't want kids, guess who have to sign a permission form?
Your husband. That's what's bananas to me. And these doctors really be trying to talk women out of it too. Talking about something. Have you had a conversation with your husband about this? This is crazy.
If you haven't had any babies so far, they try to convince you that you at least need to have a child first. Your husband has to sign permission. It costs thousands of dollars to receive a hysterectomy. So, and it's fucked up because people who benefit from hysterectomies aren't just women who don't want kids. People who have endometriosis would benefit from hysterectomies.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that I need my husband's permission. What if I didn't have a husband? What if I didn't have a husband?
Because I'm over here like, wait a minute now.
I'm 29 years old and you're telling me I need a permission slip from a man I don't know yet just to choose to make a choice about my body?
I just want to know who's going to sign my permission slip, because the odds are not in my favor at this moment. Like, I want one of them, but I don't leave the house. So what's going to happen?
Like, this honestly is, the world treats women who don't want children like the scum of the fucking earth.
Yeah,
that's
like
really,
a plague. Like,
it's undone. Like, so question for you. Do you, after Dylan, like, are you open to having any more kids, or is Dylan it? It's okay to say yes.
No. So honestly, I don't want more children. Like, sometimes I feel like, oh, I want a baby, but I don't. I think about what my life is like, and I have memories of like breastfeeding and like all this, the postpartum anxiety and the sleepless nights. And I don't want, I mean, he's so big, you know? And I also like, I don't have a partner. I'm like, I don't. For the most part, like, it's been a resounding no. I've had my periods where I've wanted a child in the last like year or two, where I've randomly been like, oh, I want a daughter, but for the most part, no, I don't. Been there, done that, got a t-shirt, I'm good.
I went through a brief period maybe a couple of months ago, and both it was like somebody like drug we or some fuck, because both Steven and I were like, do we?
It could be fun.
Maybe, yeah. We you know, we were on the borderline, and we sat there for a couple, you know, months of like, do we not? And I think that sometimes we're still there, but we're like 95% on the no side of having a kid.
Same,
right?
Same.
It's for so many reasons. Convenience. Like, I genuinely like my life as it is. We like the freedom that we have. We like the ability to go and come as we please, do whatever the fuck we want. Like, the reality of it is that, everybody sees becoming a mother or a parent as this beautiful thing, but there's so much sacrifice that also comes with having a child. And one, people ain't realistic enough about it, because growing up, all I ever heard was how beautiful becoming a mother is, and not the reality of how difficult it actually is.
That part.
So I'm just, I'm not interested. It's cool, right? Like,
You ain't
know when
missing nothing.
Yeah, when you walk in a mall and they get all them little carts in the center,
Yeah.
and them man just calling you and shit, like, and you could just walk past if you please, because you don't want a hair straightener right now. You have curly hair. Life is cool. Some bitches gonna stop by the hair straightener cart. That's fine. Good for them. Let them get a nice high quality flat iron. That's cool. Now imagine if I walking past the fucking flat iron cart, and because I keep walking past, he called me a dusty, eat up bitch who is a cruel, evil person because I don't want a flat iron. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, why I gotta be all of that? I like my curly hair. Like,
right. Anyway, it's just the way that the wall, and you should even see the way that people have tried to convince me that I'm wrong, that I have to be, or that I'm going to change my mind. And don't worry, Jay, you just ain't at that age yet.
I hate when people say that. They tell me that too. Like,
you gonna change your mind. No, I'm
they tell me that all the time. Oh, you're gonna change your mind. And then one thing this lady told me once was that I'm gonna meet a man who probably has never had kids, and I'm gonna love him so much that I'm gonna want to give him a kid. No. And I was like,
no,
I'm gonna love somebody enough to compromise my life to potentially die, because what? I'm gonna love somebody enough to risk my life.
And there are women, Jeannie Myers, who comes to mind, who have changed their minds about having children, who were adamantly against not having kids, or adamantly against having kids, and then changed their mind, right? Good for she. They ain't got shit to do with me.
I'm sitting here being such a bitter bitch because I'm like, that baby's a paycheck for Jeannie Myers, but carry on.
We ain't gonna go into that. But still, like, it's, if a woman change her mind, good for her. I don't see that happening right now. And if Ayo see me pregnant, please know that I absolutely changed my mind, because there's no way I'm going to just have a baby as I experiment for fun. That fuck is not a dog.
Right. That's wild.
So
that's so wild to me.
Yeah. It's just, it's crazy to be having this conversation in 2022. It's crazy to know that this law has been something that has protected our right to choose since the 70s, and all of a sudden now we trying to go back into why tell you all your biblical times. Are you trying to make me fucking Mary of Nazareth or wherever the fuck she was from?
Definitely.
It's, and I don't get so much. This fuck don't make me so upset.
It's a very overwhelming conversation to have, to say the least. Like, it's like, fuck, like, this is our reality. And so, because a lot of people, I feel like people are going to do this thing where they kind of disassociate, and they say, well, you know what, this doesn't directly impact me. So, but it does, It
does.
It does.
Let me tell you exactly why it does too, because this draft of the opinion that the Chief Justice released, or that was leaked, Papa said, this is just direct disrespect to the court for somebody to have leaked this. Bitch, it's a disrespect for you to decide that because I don't want a fucking child, I can't feed us, delete us, that mother's gone out of here. So fuck you. So,
did you just say feed us, delete us?
Yeah, that's what they call abortion on TikTok, because TikTok the ban your videos if you say abortion. Yeah. So anyway,
I gotta go. Get me out of here. Feed us, delete us.
Feed us, delete us. That's why I'm calling it. So here's why I want people to realize that this is way more than just abortion. In his opinion, he also cited different laws that relate to interracial marriage. I believe the right to birth control, some other shit ain't coming to mind right now, obviously, because he has to go blank at the most opportune moments. He cited, though, a couple other court cases that made it legal to do a bunch of other shit in his reasoning for why Roe versus Wade is not constitutional, right? And it is related to a person's right to privacy. Ayo, if you think that this is just about Roe versus Wade, you have some other shit coming. And that's why y'all need to start giving a fuck about things like this. It's not just about being pro-choice because you don't want nobody to hide kick that mother's count out of the uterus. It's not about that, okay? It's about whether or not you believe the government has the right to decide on your life choices for you. This
I'm
is a
glad
wild
you
fuck.
brought that up because I am gonna be fully transparent. I'm not 100% clear on what that even means. Like, I understand what you're saying about it being like, you know, like them impeding on our privacy, but like, give me some examples of what that looks like because I genuinely don't know. I'll be honest. I'm not even gonna pretend to know. Sometimes I'm scrolling on TikTok and people are sharing these political commentaries, and I feel all I hear is I don't know what the fuck they saying half the time. Like, I just know that this does not serve us. And I'm like, what do I do?
The Supreme Court decides what is constitutional versus unconstitutional, right? Their job is to compare different laws or cases. They are the highest court in the land, so they are a court of appeals, essentially. People appeal cases up to the Supreme Court, and then the Supreme Court compares that decision to our U.S. Constitution. But basically, they compare it against the U.S. Constitution and decide if that case or the decision in that case is unconstitutional. What the Supreme Court did was decide that Roe versus Wade is unconstitutional. It does not align with what's in the U.S. Constitution, right? This is entirely up to the interpretation of Supreme Court justices. So when we have a court packed with Republican justices, you start to see them decide that something is unconstitutional according to conservative values. If we have Democrats, is the opposite. So Roe versus Wade, Loving versus Virginia, all of these cases that he cited, all of these, in his opinion, were based on a person's right to privacy. So Roe versus Wade, the right to an abortion, is your right to privately choose what was for you. Interracial marriage that's your business. Basically, all of these cases, the common thread was that's your fucking business, right? In his mind, that's not enough to make that a federal law, right? It's not constitutional to decide that something is legal just because that's your business, right? And y'all, forgive me, I am interpreting this the best way I can because I don't have shit in front of me right now. But the reason people are so panicked about this is because if they could decide that for Roe versus Wade, then that means they could decide that for a bunch of other shit, Ayo. Like, your right to marry who you want, especially if you are a person who is not straight. A woman's right to have her own bank account, by the way. That case was decided along the same lines as Roe versus Wade. This shit is scary. So... And so all of this makes me think about this, Deidre. Why do you think that the world has it out? Because this ain't just the U.S. There's other countries who move like this with their laws. Why do you think that men, especially straight white men, straight men as a whole, have it out for women who just don't want to live like Sister Mary fucking Clarence? Like,
you know, the thing is they don't have it out for those women. They have it out for all women. Let's be clear, because even the women, the pick-me's who do live like, well, first of all, Sister Mary Clarence was that bitch. Okay,
was,
so we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. Okay.
She was. Sorry
but
to you,
the reality is even the pick-me's who do live according to the way the men want them to live, they're getting shitted on too, right? The reality is they have it out for women, period. And you know why? Because women are some powerful ass beings. Women are some powerful ass creatures. And even when you look at and I hate to compare humans to animals, right? I hate when people do that. But when you think about just different species, the women are always the most powerful. And it's only in the human species where the men are like, we got to stop this. Y'all bitches ain't going to do nothing. Because women are powerful as fuck and we are far more powerful than them. Sorry, I don't care who I just pissed off when I said that, but it's true. Okay? When y'all can turn liquid into human beings, okay, and still get shit done, then y'all could talk to me. Otherwise, no, because I don't think it's just women who don't want to live in biblical times. I think it's women, period. And anything that it even remotely aligns to femininity, because they got it out for gay men too. Especially the gay men who love the feminine side of themselves. Like, they just hate femininity. It's
not, I don't even think it's femininity, because they have it out for masculine women too. It's anything that is not the absolute norm. Cisgendered, straight, absolute up and down, straight and narrow. Like, anything that is not the epitome of like your average Joe, right? Your regular ass man, right? Is like the enemy of like, think about all these laws that people are battling down and protesting and trying to revoke. All of it has to do with people who are not cisgendered, straight, and white. And male.
And I was about to say and male, because even though the white women been pissing us off lately, they're being oppressed by the men too. Like, and I'll give it to them.
But I mean, listen, they don't act like they're being oppressed by these same fucking man the way they don't vote for them.
Well, they still voting for them, so let's fucking talk about it.
Because at the end of the day, white supremacy gonna always win, girl. Like, white supremacy gonna always trump everything else. It's so frustrating to witness people of color, especially, argue on the side of laws like this, right?
Yeah,
because
it's very,
it's suspicious as fuck.
It's crazy. Because
how can you not recognize oppression in any of its forms, right? Oppression is not just according to race, right? It's not just white people who trying to oppress everybody else, right? I mean, it is, but you kind of siding with them when you decide that the black women that you know and love don't have a right to their own reproductive health and to make decisions on that. Like, you side with them when you decide that the LGBTQ plus people within your family don't have a right to marry who the fuck they want, because all of that shit is rooted in white supremacy. White supremacy ain't just, I don't like people darker than me. It's, I don't like anyone who is different than me. So I don't need to think about that fuck when you come in at me with these Bible verses talking about what God wants and what God don't want.
But I also want to know, when did God tell them that he don't want that? Or she, because I think God is a woman. I'm certain God is a woman, a black woman at that. But I'm trying to figure out, when did God come to y'all and say, hey, I just want y'all to know that I don't want these bitches having abortions. Okay. I don't want these bitches having the ability to get pregnant. And yeah, I created people who've figured out the science behind terminating these pregnancies safely, but I don't want them to have it. When did God have that conversation with y'all?
You ever seen a TikTok where God was like, hey guys, it was a black woman and she was pretending to be God. And she said, I'm going to read the Bible. I've never read it. But I'm so curious to see what everyone's saying about me. Like, she was acting like it was a reality show, right? And she opened up and she was like, Leviticus. And she
not Leviticus.
Her item open. Why did she was like, I didn't say this. I didn't say it. She was like, who the fuck said I said that? Paul? Peter? Like, she was going off. She was like, I never said this. In my heart of hearts, I really believe that if there is a traditional Christian God the way y'all think he exists, or she, or whoever, he up there like, what?
Like, God is just so sick and tired of us.
And I refuse to serve. Listen, everybody talking about Handmaid's Tale and
that's the show. I almost said Downton Abbey because I don't watch none of them things. But a lot of people are saying that the girls
Abbey.
I thought it was Downton Abbey, but the girls are saying that they're trying to get us there. And I'm just like,
you know what's funny?
What?
I saw a Twitter thread that made a very good point that Handmaid's Tale is not about the future. It's about slavery. A white woman basically took chattel slavery and applied it to white women because she wanted to victimize herself.
Okay.
If you think about how black women were treated during slavery and you watch Handmaid's Tale and think about how the handmaids are treated, it is literally exactly the same. And that's all she do. She just basically plagiarize history.
But you know, white women, they are so desperate to win the struggle Olympics because I was just talking about this with my coworkers today. I don't know if you saw this, but somebody on the internet, on Beyonce's, Blue Ivy Carter's internet, had the audacity to say that the word Karen as a slur is synonymous with the N-word. They literally said calling a woman a Karen is no different than calling a black person the N-word.
Well, don't fucking act like one. They want to be oppressed so bad.
They really do.
So fucking bad.
They really do.
And the way they on the internet fighting for the right to not be called Karen, but not telling their white husbands to stop making laws that make it so that they can't make decisions about their own friggin' body. Like, y'all don't vote like you don't want to be called Karen. So until I see the majority of voting for your own self-interest, then guess the fuck what?
They are voting for their own self-interests.
Oh yeah, you're right. You absolutely right. I mean,
guess what? They
they
don't,
think
because the
they
reality
are.
is they have, you know what? Because they're gonna have access to birth control. They're gonna have access to ways to not become pregnant,
Oh yeah.
right? And so it just
This
is what it is. The
You
sad thing
just
though
make
is
such a
that
good point. This is another thing I want people to realize about abortion access. Them banning abortion is not going to stop abortion.
it's not
It is going to stop safe abortion.
facts.
People are still going to try to get abortions if they do not want children. Y'all ain't stopping shit. You're
What's
just
crazy
stopping people's safe
is
access to it.
I'm already seeing people on TikTok sharing herbs that can be used to end a pregnancy. What I'm going to say is, I know for a fact that herbs exist that can end pregnancies. But what I'm also saying is, please do not let some person on motherfucking TikTok have you poisoning yourself and harming a fetus. And then, like, hey, like, don't do that. Don't do that. I
Like,
know it's easier said than done, but do what you have to do to protect yourself from pregnancy at this point. Do whatever has to be done. And the same thing goes for the men. I'm tired of y'all being irresponsible. I'm gonna need y'all to start acting like y'all bodies be making motherfucking babies out here. But y'all
Really
don't
and
give a
truly,
fuck.
because y'all need to realize that this is in your self-interest too, okay? We're not the only ones. Women aren't the only ones out here realizing that maybe we aren't ready to be parents. So men, if that's you, then you need to be taking steps to make sure that you don't become a fucking parent. But also, you need to be opening your mouth and advocating with these women who are fighting for reproductive rights.
Facts.
Like, you cannot afford to be silent about that shit, okay? Because it's about you too. A lot of people come on the internet and talk about, oh, I got trapped, and oh, I have to pay child support, and oh, I have to do this. Listen, abortion is in your self-interest, boo-boo. If I personally view it as, because I think the other part of it is people are like, well, how can you talk like this? This is such an emotional process. And it is a difficult process. It is an incredibly heartbreaking, heart-wrenching process, whether or not you want a child. It is a difficult, and physically it's also difficult. However, I would have a harder time emotionally knowing that I am about to give birth to a child that I am not fully mentally prepared for or possibly want than I would having a medical procedure early enough in pregnancy to where there is no harm being done.
Yeah.
So that's why I could speak about it so like objectively and just be like casual, you know, blah, blah about it, because in my head, it's very simple in my head.
Yeah.
And if it's not simple in yours and you listening to this episode like, oh my God, Jay is a monster. Well, roar to you, bitch. I'll be the monster in your life. I don't
She said I'll be the monster.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I resent that we are so comfortable being in each other's wombs. Not even me and you. I'm talking as a society.
Yeah.
I resent that women don't have the right for our wombs to be ours.
You know what? I apologize for asking you that question because
No,
you're right.
don't apologize. I'm saying, like, I resent that this is a normal conversation to be having.
Yeah.
I resent that it's so normal for this type of discussion to exist. Whether or not a woman has a right to decide to have a baby.
Yeah. And the reason that I'm apologizing is because in the past couple of days, I have seen a lot of women, you know, revealing their abortion stories and feeling like they have to so that they can explain, like, these are all the possible reasons why a woman would get abortion. When at the end of the day, we shouldn't have to do that. It's the same thing. And I'm not trying to, like, make, you know, like police brutality and like abortion like on equal playing field, but it feels like the same thing when someone is killed by the police and people start coming out and saying, oh, but they had a degree and they used to do all these good things and they were such a good person.
The police just shouldn't be killing nobody.
Exactly. I shouldn't have to give you a full essay of reasoning of why I believe I have my right to live and my right to choose what to do with my body.
Yeah.
And it's about abortion and it's about having kids. Like, you should see people's faces and reactions when I say, I'm not interested. I don't feel like having kids.
It's weird. It's disturbing. It's so
they
disturbing.
Think something wrong with me. It's like, you just got married. You're happy. You privileged. You have a good, salary. Okay. I don't want to be a mother.
I'm so proud of you for knowing that and confidently saying it.
Like, you know what else I don't want to be, bitch? An acrobat. So you don't see me out here doing cartwheels and backflips, okay? I don't want to be a mother. Like, And that's good for listen, people will come to me and argue about how beautiful their experience has been becoming a mother, and then I'll go on TikTok and y'all exhausted your partner in doing enough to help you raise the child,
And that child knocking on your door to ask you the most random question when all you want to do is watch trash on YouTube.
your nipple them chop, your back hurting, like you got to pay $600 a week for daycare.
Let me tell you something.
Sounds very ghetto to me.
It's so ghetto. It's so. Let me tell you, I love that boy bad. I'm so grateful for him. I thank God for him every single
I love
day.
Dylan. I love other people's kids.
However, let's be the fuck clear. It is ghetto over here. Okay. It's ghetto. It is. And you know, the thing is because parenting is so much more than being pregnant and feeling kicks and the baby being cute and milestones. No, the older they get, and I feel like the job, certain hands-on things get easier, right? Like Dylan is a whole chef in this house. We have an air fryer. So you know, he be in here cooking. But gentle parenting, I'm gonna say it and I'm gonna keep saying it. When you have not been gently parented, gentle parenting is excruciating. Okay? Your mental health, honey, you know what it's like? Like anytime I have to take a stern tone with Dylan, and that's me talking exactly the way I'm speaking right now because he's done something that disappointed me, even though this is the tone that I'm speaking in, I go to my bed and I cry after because I hear my mother's voice screaming at the top of her lungs at me because I feel like that's what he perceives my tone to be. Me just having to assert myself as a parent and his guide in life, and me not using any, and first of all, actively choosing not to use profanities. Dylan will never say that I had a cuss after he in this house. Dylan will hear me cuss, like he'll hear me cracking jokes to my friends on cuss, but I never curse when I'm speaking with him and to him, ever. But I still hear my mother screaming at me and verbally abusing me when I have to take a tone that's not sunshine and rainbows with Dylan. Parenting is a fucking ghetto ass journey that I would never invite anybody on.
And listen, I applaud you for it, but that sounds like some mentally exhausting shit that is not on my list of shit I want to do in the next year, you know?
And so I'm never going to sit here. If somebody is truly torn about whether or not they want to have kids, or if they don't want to have kids, I'm never going to be the person that tries to convince them to have kids. If anything, people will be like, well, damn, Deidre, do you even like being a mother?
Listen, it's just like marriage. I feel like it's something you should wholeheartedly want, because when you really want something and when you're fully, you know, in there and like set, then that's what motivates you to kind of go through the difficult parts of the process, and that allows you to bring your best self to even the hardest parts of it. Like somebody who genuinely wants to be a mother, even when it's difficult, is going to be like, yeah, this fuck hard, but I really wanted this and I love my child and I really want to be a mother to my child. For me, I know that healing my own self mentally and going through that process is exhausting enough to where I just don't want to have to also do that for a child. Yeah.
Especially somebody who was optional, because in the grand scheme of things, children are, for the most part, optional, right? Like that's why I just could never understand, why are we choosing to have people that we are going to then feel like, fuck, I should have never done this, you know? Like that's why I only have Dylan. That's why my son is 8 years old and I ain't got no more babies. Okay.
Listen, I've gotten every question in the fucking, well, you know, it's just going to be you and Steven. I like Steven.
Say that.
I like Steven.
Say that.
So
because that's the real tea.
Who's going to take care of you when you get older? We going to pay for a senior living facility and we going to be in there playing fucking, what a game called? The old people play? Shuffleboard and shit. Doing bingo.
Ain't he an engineer? Y'all about to have money. Like, tell them mind their business. Y'all can keep it.
Like, it's always the what about this? What about that? What about that? Okay, what about the fact also, that I want to come home and just watch TV?
I want to know, what is it to you though, Barbara? That's the next question. What's it to you? I'm gonna need you to start disrespecting people the way they're disrespecting you. Hey, Isa. I'm gonna need you to be a thug.
I really have started to go down that path. One, I have learned not to allow the conversation to go far. Whenever people say, so when are the babies coming? We're like, we're not there yet. That's my answer. We're not there yet. Or we're not there. and it'll shut down the
And
conversation
I like that you
fast.
hit the yet. Yeah, I like that you get
Because
rid of the yet.
I'm not giving you room to try to convince me. I'm not giving you room to have the conversation. Like, no, we're not there.
Yeah.
Before we went to visit Steven's family, I was like, Steven, I let you know right now, if somebody asks us when we having a baby, that's my answer, and I need that to be your answer too. He'd be like, cool. Like,
yeah,
we're not there yet. And again, that's my view on all things. My choice to not have children, my choice to do whatever the fuck I want when it comes to my reproductive health and my body, my choice to love who I want. Like, why do I have to explain that to you?
Yeah.
Why should the government be able to tell me what to do with a fuck? Like,
I just want to know. When you find the answer, let me know.
Yeah. Really and truly, the moral of the story, kids, right? I'm not trying to convince Ayo to change your moral compass and suddenly believe that abortion is the right thing to do. I'm trying to get y'all to understand that nobody should be able to tell you what to do with your body and with your life, so long as you're making choices that do not directly harm other people.
Facts.
Point blank, period.
Yeah.
Like,
can we leave it there? Because I don't even think there's anything else to say after that. That's it. That's the episode.
Yeah. I mean, last thing I'm going to say is fuck them kids, because...
I like mine, so I don't have to say that no more. But I get it.
Like,
I also won't condemn people who say it.
Listen, the PR machine for babies working hard. I want to convince me that them motherfuckers just cute 99.99% of the time, not knowing that I lived in a house and raised a child, okay? It was not mine, but I was there. I've wiped asses. I've listened to cries. I've gone through terrible twos. I've seen a child run into a wall and bust her head open because she don't fucking listen. And now she's 15 and answering back. You want to argue that kid's cute? I don't believe you. Dylan is cute, though.
I was about to say, like, I don't mean to be like the people on my TikTok who constantly try to silence others with their privilege, but my child is the bomb. Like,
no, don't get me wrong.
So kids... let me tell you, when he was a toddler, you know how, like, if toddlers find something that's not theirs, that shit goes straight in their mouth. Dylan used to, like, bring it to us. Like, Dylan is like out of
there are anomalies. There are some very cute, very smart fucking kids, but having a baby and expecting it to be that cool is like playing Russian roulette. Okay,
let me tell you, and
there is no guarantee my child gonna be that dope.
And that's a big part of why that little boy in that room playing Fortnite is the only child I got. Because when he was a baby, I used to literally sit there. He was so cute. He thought I was so funny too. Like, everything I did was comedy to him. He used to laugh and make me feel so good about myself. But in any case, I used to just sit and watch him and say, you know, if I have a next child, they're not going to be as dope as you. Like, why do I even... And to the point where... when I really first realized that I genuinely don't want any more kids, somebody asked me, well, why don't you want more kids? I said, to be true, because he's already my favorite. And I don't see the point in having more kids if I already have a favorite. Like, I fucking love this kid. And if I have more children, those children are going to know that Dylan is my favorite. So why would I have them only for them to be disappointed?
Also, I am a huge advocate for pets versus kids because...
That's lit, but my dogs are disrespectful, so fuck them bitches.
Exactly, but you could call them bitches, right? I don't like censoring myself. If my cat do something dumb, I'd be like, what the fuck, dummy? What are you doing? You can't talk to it. Why not? He don't remember.
I don't know. I don't feel fun. I don't feel good talking to animals like that either. They're still living beings. But I do call Gypsy and Nuri bitches because them bitches is disrespectful.
I live with two one of them looking at me right now. Look at me, bitch. I talking about
niece?
You. Yeah. I live with two scammers, okay? Everybody think they're so adorable and so docile. These is two little assholes. So if somebody can call a dummy in his fuck, it's them two. Anyway. So jam done. I hope that you guys enjoyed this very very elaborate episode on you know, team fuck them kids.
That was a good use of the word. Yeah, it was really definitely an elaborate episode.
Yeah. But honestly, guys, please do your research. Like, Google some shit, read up about what's happening in the country if you live in the US, read up on Roe versus Wade, try to gain some understanding about how things affect other people versus just yourself.
Yes, that's the one.
At the
And
same
don't be
time as
afraid.
minding our business, we have to make sure that we're advocating for people who don't have as much power or privilege as we do.
Yes.
You know?
Use your voice wherever you can. We all have a voice. It's going to look different for each of us, but you have a voice, use it in whatever way you can. That's how it goes. And don't be afraid to ask questions either. And don't be embarrassed to say you don't know. Like, the fuck, I had to do it here. I didn't understand something. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I understand. And no, that don't serve nobody, especially not you. So use your voice.
And don't hesitate to call a white man a mother cunt today. You know, every now and then they need to be humbled.
Yes. I like having an attitude with them because they be scared of me. So I let them be scared of me. Yeah.
All right. You guys can join us in this conversation using hashtag GoodUpTuesday on social media or tag us at GoodUpPod. You can find us on Apple or Spotify and pretty much every other podcast platform there is. If you want to join the Good Up VIP section and keep the lights on in this bitch and see video footage of all of our episodes and get episodes early and be able to tell us what you really think about the episodes, because we have a private Facebook group. Go over to patreon.com/gooduppodcast and join the VIP community, because they got up bad. They really are. They
bad. They lit. It's lit. It's lit.
And with that being said, Deidre, tell the people bye.
Bye.
Feed us, delete us, bitches. Good Up is hosted and produced by Deidre Ritter and Heiza Quinones Ivory, and is a proud member of the Kickin' It family. Find us on all social media platforms at Good Up Pod. Use hashtag GoodUpTuesday to continue the conversation and get access to exclusive bonus content at patreon.com/GoodUpPodcast.